Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Meet the Campus Leader program organized by School of Entrepreneurship Development. And today we have a very special guest. Her name is Laila. She is from Philippines and working as a head of HR and inclusion in British American Tobacco, Vietnam. And also we have our co-host with us today. Her name is Afrin. And we're going to discuss about a lot about people management and like women empowerment, leadership role, etc. And let's welcome our guest. Welcome, Laila, to our session.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Good afternoon, Laila. We're very glad to have you today in our session.
So basically, Laila, that our session is about sharing the journeys of people around the world, like the pathways they have taken so far, their experiences, their life lessons, their volunteer experiences, how they gain some skills. We would like to share their journey and stories through our platform, so that it will inspire the young generation of Bangladesh. And most of our audience, they are basically university students. So we believe that this program is going to help them a lot. So first of all, it would be great if you share a bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's really good program that you guys have here, and I hope my session could help someone at the very least. So I'm Laila. I grew up in Philippines. I went to school. I took up psychology as a pre-med, but then ended up in the workforce and ended up in human resources. And then I took up my master's degree in psychology again, which is something that I've been able to use a lot in terms of human resources and leadership and people management. So now I'm working in Vietnam from the same company, British American Tobacco, who opened up my eyes in terms of moving to another country and having an international career. So I'm sure there's a lot more questions after, but that's a little bit about me as a background.
Excellent. So when you were a student, were you involved with different kind of volunteer activities or any type of part-time job that basically helped you gain some skills?
Yeah. When I was a student, I think I would divide my university life in two halves. I would say I went to university quite early. I was 15 at the time, which is not the usual age. I was the youngest in the room. So my first 2 years, I was just trying to figure it out. So I've been doing a lot of kind of observation. I didn't get myself into a lot of activities. I was kind of just trying to get through the classes and get used to having a lot of much more older people and much more mature people. During the second half of my university life, that's kind of when I got myself more comfortable. It took a bit of time. I did some arts program. When I was in university, I really loved the arts, so I did some drama, theater, dancing, and kind of gave me the confidence to do a bit more. So when I was in university, I was part of the arts program in the psychology department. And then through that, I've met a lot of people. And that's one of the first things that I learned. It's how do you have a good network of people that can inspire you and can open your eyes up to other things. So with that arts program, I started to meet people who are parts of, the organizations that lead different colleges. And it's became much more cross-functional. And that's how I got into this social youth program in Philippines. It's called Youth for Christ. It's kind of a religious group, but it's mostly a leadership group. So it looks after across different colleges. So I started meeting people who's not only taking my major, who's from a different college in the same university, and it really widened my network. And I could say up until today, I have friends who are accountants, who are doctors, who are engineers, architects, and it's through that university group that I joined. So it really makes it quite diverse, even though now I'm in a corporate life. A lot of them join corporate life, but a lot of them are in specialist groups as well. So it's really, for me, it's networking. For me, it's getting to know different kinds of people who are passionate about different things. And that will help you open up your eyes to different opportunities or different lanes that you probably never thought of exploring or doesn't even know about. So that's one of the most crucial things. It's cross-functional or like cross-colleges type of organization.
Amazing.
No, no, that's very excellent. Because like so many people, when they were in university, basically try to be only the member of the organization. Don't try to take part in the actively on that organization. So you are head of HR and inclusion, and is one of the biggest multinational company in the world. So how did you start, and what were the skills that you were recruited for? How did you crack the interview, and how have you been come this far, like being the head
Okay.
of HR?
It's about 7 years ago since I joined British American Tobacco. It feels like yesterday, but it's a long time. Um, After university, I started my career as a recruiter, actually, and I joined at that time IBM. I spent a couple of years in IBM as an HR professional. It's kind of a generalist role, so you do engagement, you do payroll and benefits, and then I did recruitment. And then, like any young kids, I got kind of bored at that time, and I joined a multinational, like a startup that does training. So they sell training and they sell HR programs. So I moved to that organization. I've learned a lot in a startup environment as well. And I met the then general manager for BAT Philippines. I was actually of the intention of making them a client and doing a pitch. So I was giving him a pitch about learning development programs and how we can help their Salesforce team. And instead, he gave me a pitch and he said, "Your background is in human resources. It's funny that you're here in this position doing sales pitches. I'm actually looking for an HR person, and would you like to join?" So that was James Lafferty. He's now a CEO of Fine Hygienics in Dubai. And that's how I started in BAT. So it was a multinational startup in a way, because BAT Philippines at that time just opened up. So it was kind of trying to build the team and trying to set up the business. So that's how I joined. You have to learn very fast. You have to figure things out because not everything is set up. That's kind of the beauty of it as well, because I felt like I had the flexibility to do things. But at the same time, I'm in a multinational and they have good benchmarks and good standards that I have to do. So that was crucial for me because my line manager at that time, who's the CEO, was really empowered me and really allowed me to do things and gave me the right guidance. That's how it started. It's building that confidence. After that, I got the opportunity to do kind of a above market role, as we call it in BAT, which means you're looking after different countries, doing talent acquisition management. So it's about employer brand, which is something that I love. It's the kind of cross between marketing and human resources, where I got the opportunity to work with other businesses in BAT. So I did BAT Malaysia at the time, Vietnam, Indonesia, and really understood what other markets are going through. And that started to open up my eyes. And instead of building a career in one country, in Philippines, like how do I explore and open myself up? And then eventually I got to move to Vietnam. When I moved to Vietnam, it's also a talent manager role where you look into the talent strategy of the business and aligning it, aligning the people's strategies with the business strategies, and how do you ensure you have the right people, the right capabilities, and the right future people strategies to meet your demands, right? I did that for about a year, and eventually I moved to looking after marketing, which is one of our biggest team. Very dynamic environment, very different than being a specialist when you're in HR. business partner, and then eventually I got the head of HR role. I think it was a really good progression, and I was very lucky to be in an organization that allows you to continue to learn and allows you to try out different things. But what took me there, I think, is I had good people beside me who helped me out, gave good advices, and helped me build that confidence, that I can do different things and that I can lead and I can, and I'm and in that short amount of time really just progress. It's also that open-mindedness. Sometimes you just don't know things. I think that's very crucial when you progress in your career. It helped me to ask for help, ask questions if I'm not clear, and I did that in all my stints. Like, I make sure that I have people I can go to ask for help, and that if I'm not clear about what I'm doing, that I ask questions before I do anything. And the last thing is, you know, when you move to new roles or when you do different things, a lot of times you don't know. And I always say this, that you should be biased to action. If you're not sure, do something. And if that didn't turn out to be right, that's fine. You're getting one step closer to your goal. You realize that was wrong. You do something else. And it's kind of that testing of what is right until you finally get it right. And making a bank of, a memory bank of what worked, what didn't work, and how can I reapply it, and just continuously building that capability and skill set. I go back to what I said as well earlier when I was in university. Network, or having the right people to talk to, is very important, and having that relationship with the people you work with, so they can help you as well and guide you. I definitely wouldn't be able to be where I am today if I didn't have those group of people that helped me throughout the journey. And if I didn't, test and fail until you finally get, to a position that this is the right thing to do and this is the right strategy and we're going to move forward with this. So yeah, that's my short answer. I hope that's short.
That's very diverse and very rich with information and experience. So
must say, Paya, she is very hard at the very beginning.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
we have Afrin. She is going to ask you some questions regarding women leadership and some other skills. So Afrin,
sure.
please go ahead.
Oh. So Laila, I have some question to ask you. As you're working Vietnam, you're from Philippines, and you are independent women. So how will you describe women empowerment, and what makes you an empowered woman, and what would you tell to the young women who are just to start to work? Please share with us.
Okay, all right. First, I'll start with, I was very lucky to have had really good role models growing up. My mother is a single parent when I was growing up, so I've always had that vision and model of what a woman can do, and how a woman can face challenges and really just take on life. So I've always had my mom to look up to in that regard. When I started working as well, I've had really strong female line managers, and I've met a lot of really good female leaders that is who I look up to when I think of what a strong female is. What I realized is they're also quite diverse and diverse in style. Some are, a bit very strong-minded and very clear. Some exhibit a bit more of a caring and nurturing behavior. It's very, very diverse. In BAT, I mean, what I could say is, in BAT we had this program. It's called Women in Leadership, and it's exactly that. It's a program for women leaders to talk about what are the challenges that we face as women in the workforce, and how do we, how do we get through it, and how do we move forward. There's one thing there that really struck me when they talked about it, and it's called having a conversation on the limiting belief. A lot of the times, us women would have belief systems, or we would think things that limits us. I cannot do that. I can't be as as forward, or I can't be as opinionated, or I think people will judge me if I do this. What I realize is a lot of those things in our head is just us. It's us limiting our own belief. And it's a journey, and it's a conversation with yourself. Sometimes I get nervous about things as well. I'm like, can I really do this? Is this is it too far off? Is it too bold to say? But then I will go back and say, who else is saying these things? It's just you. So I think a lot of self-reflection for women, and a lot of really looking at what are those things that stops you? Why are you what blocks you from being empowered? What are those things? And is it real, or is it you imposing those beliefs on yourself? So if I would summarize it, one is find the role models. It could be someone you know, very close, or it could be someone that are quite popular, and
Okay,
there's a lot
Laila,
of strong female leaders.
I
Yeah.
want to know, have you drawn professional inspiration from other women?
Sorry, Ari, can you repeat that again?
I said, have you drawn professional inspiration from other women?
Professional inspiration.
Yes.
Yes, of course. In our business, there's a lot of women holding amazing senior leadership positions, and then you look at their lives, and aside from being someone who works, their mothers, there's daughters, and they find a way to balance all of that while being excellent at work. And they have different style that I really admire. I could give a lot of examples. I work with a lot of women from Bangladesh, for example. I think our regional head of HR is from Bangladesh. Her name's Romana, and she's an amazing leader. Great, great insights, great composure, great business partner, and someone that you could aspire to. I've also met a lot of women in the business, and they're all very different. And they have different priorities and different kind of personalities, but you can really make something out of them. I really admire women at work, and the way they balance their lives with their families and all the other social responsibilities that they have, but at the same time being very much on point when it comes to delivery. And women have a different style that adds value when it comes to diversity of discussion, and I think that's always very important. We see things differently. We're a different kind of consumer in a way, so we will be solving different consumer problems and different angles to things. And I think that's important when you have a discussion at work.
Yeah. So, what is the one thing you know now, women and work, you wish you had known earlier in your career?
Um, I think a lot of it is what I wish I'd known earlier is that a lot of the things that stops me, or a lot of the things that hinders me from being much more out there or being much more forward. But what I want is just me. It's just me limiting myself, and I over criticize and I overthink what I do, when in reality people don't think about those things. So sometimes we are so much in our head. So I wish I would have stopped that much earlier, and just go and do things as I want it, and learn from it if it's not right, or be happy with it if it's the right direction.
We're learning from you. So, what do you think about future skills needed for the youth to excel in their fields?
Sorry, Africa, you speak a bit louder. I couldn't hear you that much.
Sure. I said, what do you think about the future skills needed for the youth to excel in their field?
Okay, future skills. I think when we are in school, we are taught a lot of about technical things, theories, and principles. The future skill set, I think one of the biggest thing is still leadership in a way. being able to work with people. It's not necessarily groundbreaking, but we need to shift a bit in terms of how do we make sure we have the right leadership capabilities aside from the technical aspects. Like, you can be very smart, you can be very intelligent from a business perspective, but if you can't work with people and if you can't make people work for you, I think that will be a very big challenge. So I speak about leadership capability. I think more and more as well is the ability to change. The change agility would be very important because the rate of change where we live right now in 2021, and I'm sure in the next few years, is it very, very different and very, very fast. A lot of things we know now will be said, debunked, and said that's wrong. So how do you continuously reinvent and challenge yourself to change? And how do you become comfortable to change? And how do you become comfortable if you don't know what change that's going to come? And how do you prepare yourself? So that is a little bit on the change agility and being able to make intelligent guesses when it comes to ambiguous situations and what will be the best attack. I mean, you look at the big businesses, and it's those like Google's were able to predict that we're going to cloud, that invested on it. It's Facebook who are able to predict that people want this connection. It's that ability to predict what consumers would want in an ambiguous or unclear situation. Those will be what would win. So how do we prepare ourselves to always find those insights early on? Be comfortable with change. Be comfortable that it is an ambiguous environment that we live in. I think those would be the key things.
So nice, nice of you. So, Mahabub Bhaiya, can you hear me?
Yes. Okay, great. Nice question, Safin. Thank you so much. Basically, she represents the young generation, big audience of us, because she's still studying in university. So, one of our objectives is to empower women in entrepreneurship. We try to, like, our main motto of our organization is to promote entrepreneurship, promote startup mentality among young generations, so that they can excel and we can support them in terms of knowledge, technology, and business consultancy, whatever way we can help them. So, can you tell me that you're working for this can be a tricky question. You're working for a like multinational company, but are you involved in any way with any work or any organization that actually impacts directly the community you're living in? Are you involved with any activities right now that has a positive impact in your community through your organization, or by like giving advice or sharing your stories, whatever it is?
Yeah. I personally, one of my biggest passion is also about diversity and inclusion. Right now, I'm in the process of working with a program here in Vietnam called USAID. It's from USAID. It's Gender Workforce Equality. So I'm going through that process. It's about being a facilitator or being a trainer when it comes to gender equality, and how organizations, be it government organizations or corporate organizations, reinforce gender equal policies and practices when it comes to their organization. So that's one thing I'm starting the journey on. And eventually the goal is that I get to first work on the organization I'm with, and we're very much committed to D&I, but also how do we help other organizations that probably don't have the same resources to get a better understanding about D&I, and also to help them, shape their processes and policies to achieve a gender equal workforce, or a gender equal world, basically. So that's one thing I'm trying to get involved with. Our organization also have a lot of community involvement. One of the things that we try to do is about sustainability. So, for example, the organization that I work with, 2 of our factories are already zero waste certified. And how do we lessen our footprint? We also work with a lot of the farmers, given the nature of the business. We work with farmers and upskill their capabilities. So it's really more focusing towards sustainability and D&I personally that I'm involved in. Yeah.
And you know, you must be pretty busy by doing your job. It's so you have so much things to do. So far, I know. What's your motivation or inspiration? Why you are going beyond your border? Like you're working, but yeah, you have to have some passion or motivation to be involved with this kind of organization or activities. So, what inspired you to deliver more for your community or uh, supporting or helping or assisting organizations with your knowledge or experience? What is your passion?
Okay. Um, well, just as a person, I like challenging myself. I think it's since I was a kid. Like it's been a journey of learning, and then like it's like a spark in your head that, oh, I never knew about that. Let me try and figure that out. So that's always been something I do in my life. When it comes to D&I, why am I inspired? I think it's just the right thing to do. I also think it's a little bit about my background. During when my mom was a single mom, that was in the 90s, and it wasn't as prevalent or as easy as it is now. And I'm sure there's also a lot of minority groups that are struggling. So that is kind of the personal link that I have on, is there anything I can do to shape this? Is there anything I can add to make this easier for those minority groups or for women that are struggling to get across? Is there any way I could contribute? I feel like it is kind of linking back to my personal experience as well. I've seen how hard it was at that time growing up, and now I think things have progressed and things are a little bit better. But I don't think that is the case across the world. There's still pockets of opportunities where we can make it better. So that is my motivation. That's why I picked up D&I as something I'm very passionate about. I'm a Filipino woman. I'm from a minority group as well. Um, and this kind of helps the cause of all these other female Asian minority groups out there in terms of how do we progress and how do we build an equal or an inclusive organization. At the end of the day, it also adds value to the business. It only makes it better, and it only solves much more problems if we have everyone in the table having a voice and being part of the discussion. So yeah, that is my motivation. I just feel like it's the right thing to do.
That's impressive, very impressive. And you know about the Asian subcontinent, of this subcontinent, the fear of women regarding doing something by their own or going to uh, do the job because there's a family pressure. There's some kind of common obstacles to them. So what do you suggest? Like, can in two or three sentences or 3 points, like to adapt with the future, fourth industrial revolution, it's coming. So can adapt with that revolution. What should they do? I mean, in terms of education or technical skills, what should they do to develop themselves or to adapt with this, what is coming in the future, in particular for women?
Okay. My advice is always I'm a big fan of just reading and researching. So try to research and read on what you're interested in. And the second advice is really to self reflect. I don't think, even at that age, when I was that age, I don't think I self reflected as much. But I think it's a very important step to really understand where you are. It's that honesty when you reflect on where you are that gives you the clarity on what you should do next. So yeah, research, read, and always make sure you reflect about what you're doing and about who you are. It's a continuous process.
Great. So the final question: why you're doing all this? What's your dream?
Ha. Is it too mushy to say I want to leave a better world? No, but I I dream to be part of to make an impact. I dream that if there is a few people that I get to change direction, or I get to help get them to where they want to be, I, I I wish I would be part of that journey. My dream, I'm a problem solver. My dream is to solve some problems or to help someone achieve something. So I will do that in my job, as someone from HR, and I do that in my personal life as a friend, or in my own activities, like D&I. So I hope everything that I do, my dream is that it's an incremental betterness of the world at some point. If it's not that big of an impact, but if I could solve someone's problem, or if I could help someone achieve their goals, that is the dream.
Fantastic. We some of our dream matches with your dream. So basically, like this is what we're doing. The foundation of our organization is, to try to empower young generation with information. With tools, techniques that we know that will somehow reshape or like say, help them to excel in their business or job. Basically, like we're trying to also solving some problems, some social problems and national problems. So which is very good. And thank you, Laila, so much for such an informative and rich session. We believe that our audience enjoyed our session a lot, and they learned something very important from you, because this is a very special session, as people management, and you have been in this sector since for a long time, more than 6 or 7 years. So this is so important to learn this informations from you. And thank you on behalf of School of Entrepreneurship Development. Afrin, you have something to say?
So Laila,
No, I thank you, everyone. Yes, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you so much. We get to learn a lot of things from you. What to do, what not to do. As a girl, how to survive, how to struggle, how to overcome the obstacles. So thanks for those. And again, thanks for giving us your precious time.
You're very welcome. If it could help someone,
Obviously.
that makes up votes for it. Thank you so much, guys. And it's a great program you guys are running. Keep it up.
Thank you. Your inspiration will.
Again, thank you, Mahbub Bhaiya. Today I'm assisting you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
You're welcome, and have a good day. Thank you, Laila. We will get in touch if you launch any new session. We'll invite you again.
No problems. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Okay. Bye, guys.